Sprinkled with white marble monuments and government agencies in neoclassical style, Washington, D.C. is an iconic planned city that was made to serve as the new capital of the United States. In 1791, 15 years after declaring independence from Great Britain, the city of Washington, named after the first president, George Washington, was founded on the Potomac River, strategically between the country's industrial north and agricultural south. Originally shaped like a perfect diamond, 100 square miles of land were given by the states of Maryland and Virginia to form a federal district called the District of Columbia. However, during a bloody civil war, land was retroceded back to Virginia, leaving only 68 square miles of territory left for federal use. The District of Columbia is a unique place where its population of almost 700,000 denizens are not represented in Congress, yet still pay federal taxes. However, a rapidly growing population of more than 6 million people live and work within the vicinity of the district, making this densely populated metropolitan area a very powerful and significant place for sustainability efforts. Washington, D.C. has had growing pains from its inception. Lack of funds, workers, and a poor use of land greatly slowed development for more than 100 years, leaving the area with incomplete infrastructure and unsanitary conditions. This did not change until 1871, when efforts of modernization finally came into fruition under the District of Columbia Act, giving the city paved roads and a sewer system. However, federal and local government corruption continued to slow progress of the city. Many African Americans, descending from the fugitive slaves who helped build the city, found themselves living in extreme poverty and slum dwellings built in the alleyways between buildings. Although they made up a majority of the population in the 20th century, they still faced segregation and discrimination despite efforts in affordable public housing, starting with the Macmillan Plan of 1922, the beginning of slow gentrification of the city. As the first black majority city in the United States, nicknamed Chocolate City, their presence has made a large imprint on the culture, politics, and political interest in Washington, D.C. This was seen after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968, when major riots ensued and more than 1,000 buildings were destroyed, leaving neighborhoods such as the U Street corridor dilapidated for decades. Until the 2010s, investment in black majority neighborhoods such as the Southeast Quadrant was weak, and neglect of the area perpetuated the urban blight. This is apparent in the pollution of the Anacostia River connecting the Potomac and Southeast D.C., where raw, untreated sewage continues to contaminate the water and degrade the health and morale of the surrounding community. Meanwhile, revitalization efforts in neighborhoods such as Capitol Hill, Adams Morgan, and DuPont Circle have seen some of the most extreme cases of gentrification in the country, and consequently, this has risen the cost of living and continues to push away the dwindling black population. These challenges, the pollution of the Anacostia River, and demographic, economic, and social disparity of the city were some of the main focuses on the first Sustainable DC initiative, which began in 2013. Washington, D.C. is dedicated to supporting its citizens' needs while simultaneously ensuring growth of its economy and protection for the environment. One of the initiatives the city is working on is to develop 3 times as many small district-based businesses. According to the Sustainable DC 2.0 plan, about half of new businesses go out of business within 4 years of opening their doors. This statistic is frightening for new business owners, and DC is taking action to fix it. Through training, financial assistance, and promotion from the district's government, the city will be helping small businesses not only to survive, but to thrive and exceed the 4-year limit of expiration. These new resources will strategically focus on populations underrepresented in business ownership. According to the Huffington Post, there are 3 primary ways that small businesses contribute to our nation. They give people the opportunity to achieve financial independence, encourage innovation, and create employment opportunities. Washington, D.C. recognizes these benefits of small businesses and wants to give its residents the means to run them. The district is looking for ways to save money and to save the planet. One of these ways is reducing its current energy use by 50% and implementing renewable energy sources in all public buildings. As of November 20th, 2018, the district has signed a bill that outlines strict energy efficiency requirements for new and existing buildings, provides tax incentives for the use of electric cars, and allows the mayor to implement carbon fees on gas sales, as well as work with Maryland and Virginia to reduce regional emissions. Councilman Vincent Gray told Washington's Top News this bill will also add and increase Sustainable Energy Trust Fund fees to fund sustainable programs and also to benefit low-income residents, which we know is exceedingly important. Being a sustainable city is no easy feat. Finding a balance between economic, environmental, and social constructs can be challenging. The city of Washington, D.C. is focused on the environment and the city's economy, but in no way is it leaving the residents behind. With several initiatives in its 2.0 action plan, the city is making sure that it is a place where its residents are safe, supported, educated, and healthy. One of these initiatives is implementing an Urban Farming and Food Security Act and expediting the process to make public and private lands available for a variety of urban agricultural uses, including community agricultural projects. Food deserts are on the rise in Washington, D.C. According to D.C. Policy Center, about 11.3% of its total area is considered a food desert. The city is taking action to decrease this percentage in order to make sure citizens are not only getting necessary food, but are having opportunities for better and healthier food. In the past, we have seen failure to meet residents' healthcare needs in certain areas of the city. Another initiative the district is working towards is to support public-private partnerships to develop coordinated community health needs, assessments, and improvement plans to promote population health. According to the Sustainable DC 2.0 plan, district government will work with stakeholders to ensure that hospitals have the information they need to provide community benefits that meet the needs of their communities. Hospitals should consider strategies that improve air quality by reducing the hospital's energy consumption, mitigate threats from toxins by expanding alerts in hospital information and quality control systems, increase health literacy by integrating the local health impacts of climate change into patient and community decisions, and share data and analysis with planners for health impact assessments of parks and trails to decrease obesity. Through these new initiatives, the residents of DC will gain better access to the resources they need to live healthier lives. DC is planning on improving its policies and infrastructure with regards to the environment in order to provide a better living space for its residents and our planet. DC recognizes the climate changes that are impacting the city and plans to mitigate those effects through its own practices. According to its sustainability plan, DC is committed to becoming carbon neutral and climate resilient by 2050, meaning its greenhouse gas emissions are offset by its production of renewable energy. The short-term goal that will bring DC towards reaching this ultimate goal is reducing the greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2032, so that the space will be vastly improved not long from now. In addition to the improvements made towards limiting climate change, DC is also adapting to make sure its citizens stay safe. The initiative Climate Ready DC helped determine what DC is most at risk for and has created plans to make sure that, in the event of a disaster, citizens will be safe and have solid evacuation routes that will hold up under extreme weather. DC is also protecting the environment through cleaner energy practices. With such a bustling and high-energy city, DC understands the importance of making its available energy sources last as long as possible. To achieve this, it has committed to cutting energy usage per capita by 50% by the year 2032. This involves educating its citizens on clean energy practices, improving building standards, and replacing fixtures in public facilities to be more energy efficient. DC is also moving into the future, pushing towards making renewable energy account for 50% of the energy used by the city. This starts with eliminating the most harmful substances, such as coal and oil, in order to provide its citizens with cleaner air in just a few years. Already, DC has a culture of wanting renewable energies, which has increased the supply in the area and will allow for it to be the default source by 2023, only 4 years from now. While these plans are beneficial to the residents and environment alike, there are also plans for more tangible benefits that citizens can enjoy in the community and the workplace. One of the main components of creating a sustainable city is restoring the natural spaces, including parks and natural areas in currently underserved areas of the city. So no matter where they want to live in the city, people will have equal access to parks, as well as the rivers, meadows, and wetlands that will soon be restored around the city. Since DC is already known as an amazing place to live, there are more people moving there all the time. This population and housing growth will be offset by the additional 150 acres of wetland to be created, as well as 10,500 trees to be planted annually. With all this additional green space, neighborhoods will be beautiful, air will stay clear, and the impacts of any extreme weather occurrences will be limited. When looking for outdoor activities for the family, the waterways around DC are a great place to start. DC sits close to both the Anacostia and Potomac rivers, which will be made safe for both swimming and fishing by the year 2032. These are already popular locations for hiking and boating activities, but with the plans to develop cleaner water habits at the individual and city level, will protect the local environment for the health and enjoyment of its residents. There are education programs in development to encourage people to be wary of the harmful chemicals in products they buy and reduce stormwater pollution, as well as city programs to limit salt use on the streets and restore the wildlife habitats in the Anacostia River. With these improvements over the next few years, the local waters will be a safe and fun place for people of all ages to enjoy. An improvement that could be made to make DC's sustainability plan more sustainable would be to set more ambitious goals for renewable energy use. In the current sustainability plan, the established goal for renewable energy use is for renewable energy to make up 50% of DC's energy supply by the year 2032. However, even if they reach this goal, the district will still be relying on non-renewable energy uses for 50% of its energy, so this wouldn't be a fully sustainable level for energy use. Jason Daly notes the fact that some states, such as California and Hawaii, have passed legislation setting target dates for using 100% renewable energy. For example, California's legislation calls for 50% renewable energy use by 2025, 60% renewable energy use by 2030, and finally, 100% renewable energy use by 2045. So while they also set smaller goals, like the goal set by DC, they use these goals as stepping stone to get them toward the overall goal of switching completely to renewable energy. The main concern with such a policy is that it seems unattainable to actually achieve 100% renewable energy use with the existing technologies. Daly addresses this and acknowledges that these legislatures calling for 100% renewable energy use do not lay out a clear roadmap for how they can reach that goal. However, the belief with these policies is that they will send an important message. They show scientists and investors that the expectation for the future is 100% renewable energy use. This establishes a very large market for renewable energy use, which will encourage investors to invest more money in renewable energy and will encourage scientists to spend more time researching how to improve renewable energy options. While 100% renewable energy use may not seem realistic at the present time, the belief is that setting this ambitious goal will help to make it more attainable by sending a clear signal to the market about the future importance of renewable energy, which will result in improved technologies and more innovation. So DC could look at these other policies as inspiration to improve its own sustainability plan. While they are already moving in the right direction by aiming for 50% renewable energy use by 2032, they could improve further by establishing more ambitious energy goals for the future and establish a clear goal to be able to reach 100% renewable energy use by a certain date. DC should not settle for 50% renewable energy, but rather should expand its renewable energy plan to aim for higher levels in the future that will increase the city's sustainability by reducing and eventually eliminating the use of non-renewable energy sources.